Two people, same street, same job, same paycheck. Theo and Renee start in exactly the same place. Same salary, 58,000 a year, same age, same need, a car that gets them to work and back. Theo buys new, finances it the way most people do, about $767 a month. The current national average for a new car on a loan stretched close to 6 years. Renee buys a reliable used car, a few years old, low miles, the boring, dependable kind. Her payment lands around $537 a month, the national average for used. The difference between them is $230 a month. That is the whole story. Not a fortune. The price of a couple of dinners out. $230. Why don't we start following that $230 gap for 25 years using real payment data and real depreciation data and show you the exact point where these two identical lives stop being identical. It is not where you think, and it is not because one of them earned more. Let me start with Theo, because Theo did nothing wrong. He bought a car he could technically afford. The payment fit his budget. The bank approved him. Everyone in the transaction smiled. By every normal measure, this was a responsible adult buying a normal thing. Here's what the data says about Theo's purchase. The average new car loan in late 2025 was about $43,500, stretched over nearly 69 months, almost 6 years. Roughly 3 in 10 new car buyers now finance for more than 6 years, and nearly 1 in 5 new car payments is over $1,000 a month. 6 years is a long time to pay for anything, but that is the printed price, the number on the sticker, the number on the loan. There is a second price, and it is the one no salesperson will ever walk you through because it does not happen at the dealership. It happens in the parking lot afterward. The second the car becomes yours, it stops being a new car and becomes a used one, and used cars are worth less. The figures here are remarkably consistent across the industry. A typical new car loses around 20% of its value in the first year alone, and within 5 years, the average new car has lost roughly half of what you paid. Kelley Blue Book puts the steepest cases near 60%. I see cars average across hundreds of thousands of cars is about 45%. Call it half. So Theo's $43,000 car will, in 5 years, be worth somewhere around $20,000, if he is lucky. And it is a brand that holds value. That is not a fee. Nobody charged him for it. It is just what cars do. Theo paid the printed price. The second price is being charged quietly in the background every single day he owns it. Now, Renee. Renee's car is not nicer. Let me be honest about that. This is the part people resist. Her car is older. It has more miles. It is, by every status measure, the lesser car. But watch what happens to the value of each car over the same 10 years. Theo's car started high and fell fast. It did most of its losing in the first few years, the years he was still paying for it. Renee's car started low and fell slowly because the steepest drop already happened to someone else before she bought it. She let the first owner absorb the worst of the depreciation, then stepped in. And here's the quiet, almost unfair truth at the center of this whole video. Both cars are on the same road to zero. In 15 or 20 years, Theo's gleaming new SUV and Renee's plain used sedan are worth approximately the same thing. Very little. The expensive one and the cheap one end up in the same place. A car is not an asset that grows. It is a slowly emptying tank. So who benefits from the difference between them? Not Theo. The lender earns the interest on his 6-year loan. The manufacturer earned its margin the day he drove off. The depreciation is not paid to anyone. It just evaporates. Theo paid more and got the same destination, a car worth almost nothing. eventually. The only thing that was ever really different between these two people was the gap. $230 a month. The question is what Renee did with it. This is the research authority moment, so let me be transparent about the math before I show you a single result. I went through the historical return data and the depreciation studies so I could build this honestly. The US stock market's long run average has been around 10% a year before inflation, closer to 7% after inflation, measured over many decades. That is an assumption, not a guarantee. Some decades it is much better. Some decades it is flat or negative for years. Change the assumption and the ending changes. With that on the table, here is what Renee's $230 a month becomes. Invested steadily for 25 years at that 10% long run average, the gap, just the difference between the two car payments, grows to roughly $300,000. Now, the honest version, because nominal dollars lie to you a little, adjusted for inflation into what that money would actually buy in today's terms, it is closer to $185,000. And the bad weather case, because every honest plan needs one, if the next 25 years are worse than average, say returns come in well below that historical line, Renee's number could be half of this. It might be 90 or 100,000 instead of 185. That is the downside, but notice something about the downside. Even Renee's bad case beats Theo's guaranteed outcome because Theo's car was never going to grow at all. In every scenario, good market or bad, his money went into something designed to lose value. Hers went into something with a chance to grow. The worst version of investing still started from a higher floor than the best version of a depreciating car. So here is where the two identical lives finally separate. It was never the salary, same paycheck the whole time. It was never discipline in some grand sense. Renee did not suffer. She drove a perfectly good car. The entire divergence came from one decision made once about a depreciating object and then left alone for 2.5 decades. That is the part that should stay with you. The gap did not feel like a financial decision, it felt like a car choice. But a car choice financed and repeated every 6 years for life is one of the largest financial decisions most people ever make. They just never see it on a statement. Now, the open loop from the beginning, I said the point where these lives split is not where you think. Most people assume the dividing line in personal finance is income, that Renee must have outearned Theo or sacrificed more or known some trick. She did not. She made one structural choice. She refused to confuse the monthly price with the total price. Theo thought in monthly payments. Can I make the payment? Yes. So he bought. Renee thought in total cost. What does this choice cost me over the whole life of the money? And the moment you ask that question, a new car stops looking like a reasonable upgrade and starts looking like what it is, a large, slow, voluntary transfer of your future wealth into an object guaranteed to be worth less every year. That is the trap, and it is not hidden. The monthly payment is printed right on the contract. It is just designed completely legally to make a very large number feel like a very small one. The second price is the one that decides your future, and almost nobody adds it up. Two people, same street, same job, same paycheck. 25 years later, Theo is on his fourth new car and his fourth 6-year payment. The car's changed. The payment never stopped. Renee is still driving something modest. But the gap she never spent has been working the entire time in the background, quietly, the same way Theo's depreciation worked against him, except hers compounded up. Same income, same street, one difference made once and left alone. A car is the only major purchase guaranteed to be worth less tomorrow, and most people finance it like it's an investment. So that is the gap and what it costs to ignore it, which leaves the obvious next question, the practical one, not new versus used. The real one, how much car can you actually afford without quietly mortgaging your future? There is a clean way to calculate it with a number you can run before you ever walk onto a lot. That's what we'll delve into next time. Meanwhile, I'll keep reading the fine print